Welcome to Arsenal Reviews number 10. This is a series where we review all of your guys' arsenals in a 30 to 50-ish minute video. We have a lot of really cool ones today, a lot of shorter and smaller arsenals, but a couple bigger ones. Remember, I put all the arsenals in the chapter so you can find your name if you're one of these people. Otherwise, you can learn a lot about a ton of different bowling balls, both on the market and discontinued. So you can see some comparisons of your favorite ball to things that are currently on the market. Remember, if you enjoy this series, make sure to drop a like on the video, make sure to drop a subscription. Also, we are now officially Bowlers Mart affiliates. What this means is that there's a link in the description that you can use if you're gonna go purchase anything from Bowlers Mart. It's a good way to really help support the channel. I get a little bit of a kickback if you purchase anything when on this link. So if you do, let me know, and if you buy any of the balls that I end up talking about, also let me know as well. But otherwise, let's get into the Arsenal reviews. All right, and here we are with Bart. Bart is a rev-dominant two-hander as well. 5 bowling balls to look at right now. What are some bowling balls we've already talked about in the past? We know the Attention Star is a strong and sharp bowling ball. Untitled Pearl is a medium sharp ball right below it. Different ball shape, a lot smoother than that star, but still really good. Pitch Black in the urethane camp. Tour Dynamics is always hard because it's either medium and smooth or weak and smooth. It is a weak asymmetrical ball. I see this as attempt number 1 of the Ion Pro, and it just did not do well, so they tried again with the Ion Pro and did a lot better with it. They're very similar bowling balls in terms of how they react. Finally is the Identity. The Identity we are going to put above the Attention Star. It hooks earlier and is a little bit sharper than the Star, just a stronger ball in general, which is really what it was designed to do. But since you're rev dominant, looking at the list, I would really highly recommend a bowling ball below the Optimum Idol Pearl. What could be some options? A Typhoon could be good, a Hustle Earth, Hustle Glow. You could go with a High Road 40 or a Road Warrior even would be in that camp. Things around there I think would be a really good options for you. They're going to get further down lane and help out since you are more rev dominant. I think the strong side of your arsenal looks pretty good. If you need a new ball to cover the Tour Dynamics, I'd go with an Ion Pro. They're going to be very similar. Unfortunately, the Ion Pro is super, super expensive. That's the only difficult part. Next up, we're on Branden. Branden has 4 bowling balls in total, and these ones should be fairly easy to put in their right categories. So let's put 2 of them in there first. The Mantra is a medium and sharp ball, asymmetrical ball, kind of like a Gremlin right now to a certain degree, asymmetrical hybrid. IQ Tour being in the weak and smooth, we always all know and love where the IQ Tour fits. Arctic Vibe coming up next. I'm going to put the Arctic Vibe right before the IQ Tour. They're kind of close together in where they're going to hook. Radically different ball shapes down lane, so you can have both in the same bag. They just want to hook in kind of similar spots. Finally, an OG Track Heat. Track Heat, we're going to put in the weak and sharp category. So right now, Branden, you have a lot of weaker bowling balls. That's A-okay. If these balls hook plenty for you, I'd recommend another weak and sharp ball to go with this original Track Heat. If you don't, if you need bowling balls that hook more, you can go with a Phase 2, a Rockstar, you could go with a Hammerhead or a GB5 to really fit in that medium smooth slot to go above an Arctic Vibe or an IQ Tour. If you need something stronger than a Mantra, go with like a Theorem. That could be a really good 1-2 combo for you. But otherwise, thanks for sending your arsenal. Moving on to Craig. Craig has a few more bowling balls than the last couple of people, so let's look at what he's got. Starting with a Jackal Onyx. We have a couple newer bowling balls in here too. We know that's strong smooth. We know the Origin is strong sharp. We know the Summit Ascent is on that weaker side of medium smooth. We're actually going to put it over here. Any other categories that we haven't hit? Not really. So let's start off. Harsh Reality Solid. These 2 are tough. I see these balls as really similar, just from different companies. The Harsh Reality Solid does not like angle, though, where the Onyx likes angle a little bit better. So I think it would go Onyx into the Harsh Reality, even though the Onyx is a little sharper down lane as well. Oh boy, here we go. Rubicon UC3. What is this bowling ball is a really good question. It was trying to be urethane-ish. I believe it was called Tourthane was the cover stock of it. It's just a super strong and early cover stock. I would honestly put it right below the Harsh Reality in terms of strength because it still has that Rubicon core, which isn't too crazy. That cover just wants to hook miles and miles. I've seen people hook the whole lane with this thing before anything else. It was a wild and cool bowling ball that not many people liked, unfortunately. A little bit sad. Optimum Idol Pearl, we're putting in medium sharp. Let's go Axiom Pearl. Let's go Axiom Pearl. I saw the Axiom Pearl as a little bit later than the Optimum Idol Pearl. It was a little bit weaker in my opinion. It just didn't want to hook as early as the Optimum Pearl. I think the Axiom Core is a little bit smaller too, but they are kind of close. Exotic Gem, we are going to put that above the Origin in terms of how early it wants to hook. They are, again, close bowling balls. They both want to hook early for this being shiny, but I think the Exotic goes just a little bit above it. And then we have two of the gems. We have the Magic and the OG. Ooh, here we go. I'm going to put the OG. I'm going to actually put both in front of the Rubicon. I'm going to go OG into the Magic, which are two very similar bowling balls, into the Rubicon UC3. So Craig, looking at what you've got, you have a ton of big, strong, asymmetrical solid balls, big, strong, or big, smooth asymmetrical balls. I would recommend rounding out the bottom half of your lineup. Right now, there's a big gap between your Magic Gem and your Summit Ascent, so you could fit a ball here like a Phase 2, a Rockstar, something like that. If you don't want to do that, I'd recommend something below like an Axiom Pearl and an Optimum Idol Pearl. Go with like a Road Warrior, Ultimate Wrecker, High Road 40, even a Typhoon if you're not speed dominant could be good. But that can help round out this bottom half of your arsenal. You have a couple balls that are a little close together. The Onyx and the Harsh and the Gem are all very similar bowling balls. Same with the Magic in there too. The Exotic and the Origin are hook in very similar parts of the lane. Then the Optimum Pearl and the Axiom Pearl. I see the Optimum Pearl as like the next evolution of the Axiom Pearl. So I think if you round out these a little bit better too, could be a really good arsenal for you. We're moving on to Emmy, who is a unique combo of a speed-dominant but two-handed righty. There aren't many speed-dominant two-handers out there right now, so cool to see. But let's make an arsenal for Emmy. Here we go, kicking us off. What balls do we know about? There's a lot of bowling balls that we haven't seen before on this list, actually. Purple Hammer and the Urethane, we've seen that 1 or 2 or 900 times so far in our arsenal reviews. Optimum Idol Pearl, medium sharp. Ion Max is a strong smooth. We see IQ Tour as a weak and smooth. Otherwise, we'll kick it off with the rest. We have some older ones to start. Original Idol Pearl coming in first. That's going to go after the Optimum Idol. The Optimum has a stronger cover, and it has that stronger core being AI, so that one comes a little bit ahead of it. The Promotion. The most disliked and most liked ball, depending on what kind of bowler you were. This thing sucked for a lot of righties, but this thing was amazing for a lot of lefties. Just go ask Luke Rosdahl how many promotions he has. Where do we put this ball? I'm going to put it in the medium smooth category. It reminds me of like an Envy Tour is really what it's best for, but that's really where that guy's going to fit. Nuclear Cell, that is a strong and sharp ball. That came with that cell core, massive cell core, but with a weaker cover stock, so it's on the lower end of strong sharp. Rubicon UC2. Ooh, I'm going to put the Rubicon UC2 below the Idol line. That had a weaker core, weaker cover, kind of like the Gremlin right now. This is pretty much just the old Gremlin, the ancestor of the Gremlin. It's going to go after both Idols. The Wild Streak, this ball sucked. Super high RG ball. Middle of the road differential. It's going to fit in medium smooth, but on the lower end. Again, a ball that a lot of people didn't really like because it was so niche. Electrify. This was the Pearl or the BSY or the Pearl one? No, hybrid one. That's a hybrid one, I believe. I think the Pearl one was pink. Weak and sharp, though. It's definitely going to be a weak and sharp ball. All of the Electrifies fall in this weak and sharp category. They were all pretty bouncy down lane when they saw friction. RSTX2. This is a slightly stronger Rubicon UC2. I'm actually going to put it just right above the Rubicon, but still in that medium sharp category. Again, weak cover, stronger core, but not a crazy strong core. Coming in with the Night Road. The Night Road was a stronger cover, high road variant. We're going to put it at the end of the medium and sharp category, right after all the Rubicons. IQ Purple is what this ball is called. It is just a dark purple variant of the IQ Ruby. That's it. It's nothing too crazy. Overseas ball, and it looks absolutely stunning, by the way, Emmy. Like, getting your hands on this, well done. Well done. Then it's going to be above the Electrify there. I almost pulled a Porky Pig above. TNT, we are going to put that... where do we do that compared to the Promotion? I'm going to put the TNT below the Promotion because the Promotion comes at like 2000 grit and hooks at your toes immediately. I'm going to do that. I'm going to make it in that order. Finally, the Phase AI. I'm going to put the Phase AI after the Rubicon UC2, but before that Night Road. So, looking at where it is, Emmy, I would recommend some balls that are not symmetrical pearls in your future. So you have, or asymmetrical pearls. You have 10 pearl balls in this list right now, 9 pearl balls in this list, and not many solids that are newer. So you have, ProMotion, TNT, and Wild Streak. That's honestly a good 1, 2, 3. All older balls, but that is a good 1, 2, 3. Ion Max on top, love to see that. And then an IQ Tour below, it's a really good option. If you want to get more bowling balls, I'd recommend rounding the solids out before you get more pearls, because you do have 6 balls in that medium sharp category. And then you have a nuclear cell, which isn't that strong in the strong and sharp category, but it still fits in that realm. So I think a couple solid balls next would be a really, really good option. Coming up next is a good friend of the channel, Grumpa Baggins. Grumpa has 1 or 2 or 25 bowling balls in this list. So let's put some things in categories that we know about to start. Effecteur, medium smooth. Hammer Effect, strong and sharp. New Blue, we know that's a weak and smooth. We see a Troublemaker in the medium and sharp category. Looking down the list for anything else, do we have any strong smooths? We see the Jackal Onyx, the strong smooth ball. Do we have any weak and sharp? I think we'd put a Slingshot there. We'll start with that ball and go through one by one with everything. The Brunswick Slingshot, very, very old, not very old, but older entry-level bowling ball. Definitely a weak and sharp ball. Definitely still an entry level. It did have some good use back when it first came out. A lot of people like that and the Columbia 300 Freeze. Let me know down below if you had a Freeze. Archetype Hybrid, though, coming up first. We are going to put that... Archetype is close to the effect. I'm going to put it a little bit after, just a little bit after it. Coming up, though, Ion Pro. Ion Pro we're going to put above the New Blue in terms of where it hooks. But I think, though, you can, honestly, a New Blue can work in place of an Ion Pro if you're desperate. But having them both is good. Intense Mindset coming up next. I actually have one of these. I would put it as weaker than both of these balls. This ball is kind of weird at the end of the day. Very, very odd. Very, very touchy with its hand position. Coming up is a Revolt Uprising. This is definitely going to be a strong and smooth ball. It's a symmetrical ball, but wow, does that thing hook. This was a limited edition piece that was very pricey off the rip, and then the price ended up getting lower and lower as it went because they didn't sell out of all of them that they had. Hyper Venom, definitely medium sharp. I put it below the Troublemakers all the time. Raptor Rush. Ooh, I would personally put the Raptor Rush in front of the Archetype and the Intense. That's where I would put it personally. Some people say the Raptor is a lot more angular and later than what I think, but I think it's a little bit early. Next, we have the EJ Jackal. The EJ Jackal is definitely going to go in the strong smooth camp. It does fit that smoother ball motion compared to that more angular ball motion, but it's going to go below the Revolt and the Onyx. Jackal Ghost coming up next. This one's hard. I know Motive came out and said the EJ is supposed to fit between the Ghost and the Crimson. It's kind of tough, though. It's kind of tough to pick. If you have a completely fresh Jackal Ghost, I think this does fit really well as the 1-2. Pride Liberty coming up next. That is a medium smooth ball, comes after the Effecteur. We also have the Pride Dynasty coming in next. That's going to go, I think, in front of the Effecteur. That Pride Dynasty hooks early. Super, super early. Black Venom coming up next. That's going to be at the bottom of the medium and smooth category for sure. Now, we have a couple weirder ones. We have the Cruel Intent. Intent Cruel is what the ball, everyone made fun of for that ball because it goes Intent and Cruel on it. Very, like, here, check that out. Like, it looks like it should be Intent Cruel. But that is a pretty old, smoother Motive bowling ball. I'm actually going to put it in the top of the, actually, no. I'm going to put it at the end of the medium and smooth category. It's going to be the smoothest one on this list for the medium smooth, but it's also going to be the weakest because it is much older. Motive Recon, I'm going to be blunt with you, the RX1. I have no idea what this ball is. Like, if we look it up right now, let's do it. Motive RX1, is that what it was? This guy, RX1 Silver. It is 259 RG. Yeesh. It is very, very weak. That is a very weak bowling ball. I actually think that's not weaker than a Slingshot. Slingshot is on the bottom there. We're going to do that. Coming in next, we have the original track Stealth, one of the babies. We're going to put that right before the Effect Tour. We're going to go right there for that guy. Next up, an OG Archetype. Ooh, the Archetype was good. It was early. It was smooth. It was slow. I don't think it's as early as that Revolt. That Revolt Uprising is basically a different colored Sub-Zero Forge, in my opinion. It's just a bright orange Sub-Zero. Moving on next, Track Theorem. That goes at the end of the Strong and Sharp category. 3 bowling balls remaining. First one is the Road Warrior. Road Warrior, we're going to put at the end of the medium sharp category. I think it hooks later than a Hyper Venom. Part of that is because it's a Storm Ball. Part of it is because it is a little weaker core, weaker RG. Pure Envy, I'm going to also put that between the Archetype and the Jackal Ghost. And finally, we have Grumpa's favorite, the Big Time Special Edition. Now, I know Grumpa has this polished. Grumpa is also the only person in the world who did like the Big Time SE. So, even though yeah, we're going to put it in the medium sharp category. We are going to put it at the front of it, only in this case because Grumpa does have it polished. Grumpa is a lefty, by the way. I forgot to mention that. A lefty bowler, so you're going to notice a lot of smoother ball motions, and that's a good thing for a lefty. A lot of the strong smooth balls, a lot of the medium smooth, which is perfect. So, looking at it, you don't have any weak smooth or weak sharp, but that's a-okay. You don't really need them. You have a perfectly well-rounded out weak sharp or medium sharp category, and your strong sharp flows into it really nicely. You have the Theorem, then you immediately go to like your Troublemaker and Venom, and potentially that Big Time if you need to go to that. So the flow of these bowling balls is really, really good. I don't think you need a weak and sharp ball. I don't think it's really a necessity. The Road Warrior should really be the weakest you need unless you use that slingshot a lot. If you use that slingshot a lot, then I'd recommend something else in this category. You could go like that bubblegum vibe. You could go with a, what is Motive? Motive doesn't really have much in that category, unfortunately. The Max Thrills will be a little bit too strong for what you're looking for. But I think that bubblegum or the Ivory Rhino could be good options for you. But Grumpa, overall, amazing, amazing arsenal. Love to see all these different and unique bowling balls, and hopefully this helps. Next up, we have Johnny B. Johnny B is a low-speed bowler with 5 total bowling balls, 6 total bowling balls. Math is really, really hard for me right now. I haven't drank enough caffeine. Low-key, I'm drinking a root beer, Lost and Found Energy right now. It tastes so good and so much like root beer. It's crazy. It's so weird. But let's go into it. Urethane, Purple Slammer is going to go in the urethane slot. Attention Star is going to be in strong sharp. Ion Pro we know as weak and smooth, and Rockstar we know as medium and smooth. That leaves us 2 balls left. Supernova coming up first. That is a solid asymmetrical ball, weaker than something like an Ion Max or a Hyperdrive, but still a strong asim at the end of the day. And then we have the Hustle. The Hustle is going to fit in the weak and sharp category for sure. There's nowhere else that thing can go. So looking at the arsenal, perfectly well-rounded. You have 6 bowling balls in 6 different categories. Looks fantastic. The only thing next would be a ball below the Attention Star, but above a Hustle. So that's like a Phase AI, a Gremlin, potential Ember from 900 Global coming soon, Road Warrior, things like that are going to fit really well in that slot. That would be the next ball I'd look at. And then it really comes down to what balls where do you notice gaps? Do you notice a big gap between your Rockstar and your Ion, your Supernova and your Rockstar, your Ion, and you need another ball below it? That's really what you'll look for after this medium and sharp ball comes next. Next arsenal up is Justin, who is a balanced bowler who has a lot of really cool bowling balls in here, all very, very new, which is awesome. So Ion Max is going to go in the strong smooth. Zen 25 we know as medium sharp. The Origin we know as strong sharp. IQ Ruby we know as weak sharp. Anything else that fits? Venom Shock we know as medium smooth. We see the Goat in the Purple Hammer in the urethane slot. Definitely not in controversy right now. Then we have 4 other bowling balls. So let's fit these other 4 bowling balls where we think they go. First of all, Sub-Zero Forge. Definitely a strong and smooth ball. The strongest symmetrical solid ball on the market today. And also one of the best looking bowling balls going into today. Next is the Nuclear Forge. This is a cool argument here. Origin versus Nuke. I would go Origin hooks earlier than the Nuke. I don't think they're going to be similar in ball reaction wise. I think this is a good 1-2 combo, but this is a pairing I've never seen before, so I like it. Max Thrill Pearl Eye. Ooh, do I? Yeah, I do. We're putting the Max Thrill no, we're not. We're putting the IQ above the Max Thrill Pearl. Two different ball shapes. The Max Thrill is going to be a lot different compared to that IQ Pearl. That IQ Pearl wants to be very smooth and round, whereas the Max Thrill Pearl does not want to do that. But they are going to be close-ish in terms of when they hook on the lane and when they're best used together. Finally, we're at the real time. We're going to, oh man, I think we're going to put the real time actually after the Venom Shock. Yeah, after the Venom Shock. We're going to put it after the Venom Shock. It is a very weak bowling ball, bigger core, weaker cover, shiny ball. It's going to fit after your Venom Shock, especially if you keep the surfaces where they are out of box. Then after those is going to be the Zen 25. Looking at this, awesome arsenal, really good arsenal. I always think weak smooth is the least used category in bowling, so it's okay to miss that. The combos in these first 7 are awesome. I love Ion Max and Sub-Zero together, Origin and Nuke together, Venom Shock, Real Time, and Zen together. I think those are really cool. And then you have your bailout options on the bottom, and then of course everyone needs a urethane if you're bowling on harder stuff. I really think this is really good right now. There is a big gap between your Sub-Zero and your Venom Shock. You could fit a ball between there. And then after your Real Time and your Venom Shock, there really isn't a smooth bowling ball that's left. And there is a big gap between your IQ Ruby and Zen 25. You could fill that. But overall, in general, it's really good right now. Nice work. Next up, we are on Logan. Logan has a nice amount of bowling balls. So let's start it off with the ones we know about. Hammer Effect. Black Widow 7 or Black Hammer 78 into the urethane category. We see the new blue. That fits strongly in the weak smooth category. We see a Troublemaker will fit into medium sharp. I saw Venom Shock down here. We're going to fit in. DVA Dark Side, we are going to put that in the weak and sharp category. But otherwise, that is about all we have for right now. Let's check out, what does this Black Widow Toxin do? I don't even know. Not that, the bowling ball. Is this the solid or the hybrid? This is a solid. That's interesting. 2.5 ORG, 058 differential, so it's a regular gas mask core with solid reactive cover. Okay, interesting. So we've got the Black Widow Toxin coming up first. I'm going to put this in the strong and smooth category. It sounds like it's a Black Widow 3.0. It's really what it is. It's a non-HK22 Black Widow 3.0. Purple Reactive, the purple hammer, but with a reactive cover stock. I'm going to put that after the new blue. These are going to be very close bowling balls together. If you want to replace your purple reactive, get a new blue. They have the same exact cores in them, just slightly different covers. One of them is trying to act like urethane. One is just trying to act like a weak cover. In my opinion, if you throw urethane on house shots, the purple reactive would be miles better for you, which means the new blue would be miles better for you. Ocean Vibe definitely fits below the dark side. Now, this Black Widow Domination is, I think, pretty much just like that Black Widow Toxin to a certain degree. Overseas Black Widows is what these top two are. We're going to put them both in the same category. We see an Onyx Vibe. Because this is an older vibe, I'm going to put it right after the Ocean. Because they're both smooth, they're both super weak, and I think they both fit like right next to each other. Troublemaker Solid. Oh, that's a good argument. Venom Shock versus Troublemaker. I'm going to put the Venom Shock first in front of the Troublemaker Solid because of the RG. The RG of that Venom Shock is super low, makes it want to hook a little earlier. But these two bowling balls are going to be a little close together, the Venom Shock and the Troublemaker Solid. Hammer Effect Tour. Well, we have a new leader in hook in the medium and smooth category, and that's going to be the Effect Tour is going to go in first. Finally, Hazmat Solid. Ooh, that's a good argument. We're going to put the Hazmat Solid right after the Effect Tour to have Effect Tour, Hazmat Solid, Venom Shock, Troublemaker Solid. So, looking at it overall, I think the biggest thing we're missing here is just a couple more pearl balls. You have a lot of solid balls, which is awesome, but I think a couple pearls could do really well here. Either another thing that's weaker in the strong sharp category, or just another ball in the medium sharp category could be really, really good for you. Overall, you have a pretty good round out. Two Black Widows on the top is always iffy, especially if they're close-ish together. But they're overseas balls, so they're super dope. So that's a good reason to keep them at the end of the day. But overall, just a couple shiny balls, you're going to be set. Next arsenal up is from Max. Max is a rev dominant two-hander, has 5 bowling balls for us to look at here. Starting us off, Original UFO. Original UFO is a strong smooth ball. That was one of Rotogrip's better ASIM solids. I had that one actually. I was a big fan of it. I got it used. It ended up cracking on me, which was sad. It was a really good ball though. I actually tried finding another one for a bit. Phase 4, medium sharp ball. Definitely, that is just the phase 5, but this one was banned because of softness for USBC national competition. Nothing too crazy. Really good ball at the end of the day. Smells like root beer. Definitely fits middle into that medium sharp category. Rockstar, we all know, is the medium and smooth category. That is like a benchmark bowling ball. It's going to fit below that UFO and above any other weaker bowling balls you have. So that middle of the middle of your bag. Next up is one of the gurus. This is the Mighty. The Guru Mighty, all the gurus really are in that strong and smooth category. I believe this one was a hybrid, not 100%. They were all insanely smooth because the gurus came out when Radical was making bowling balls that were insanely slow off the spot. And the Guru fits perfectly right after that UFO in that regard because the core isn't crazy strong, but it's still strong enough. Finally, Daredevil Danger. Daredevil Danger is a hybrid Daredevil. These balls were really smooth. I actually had an original Daredevil that cracked out on me. I had it many years after it came out, but it was super, super smooth. So I actually want to put this Daredevil Danger in the weak and smooth category, even though it's shiny. So, Max, being a rev dominant two-hander, what would we see as the next option here? I would personally recommend a weaker bowling ball that isn't the Daredevil Danger. This ball is getting pretty old at this point. I believe when I looked it up, it was 2017 is when this ball first came out. So we're at 8 years that this ball has been made for. I would recommend something else in this weaker category. You have almost all storm stuff. You could go with a Typhoon. You could go with one of the new hustles if you want to spend a little bit less money. High Road 40 if you want a little more angle down lane. You have a lot of options, but I recommend a new weak ball to be able to pair with some of your stronger stuff. Your stronger stuff looks pretty okay right now. Having the UFOs into the Rockstar is a good one too, or the Guru also. And then the phase 4 is a good just middle of the road pearl ball. You could get a ball above that if you want. Attention Star, Equinox, Identity if you want to spend $300, things like that. But overall, I think a weaker ball is going to be a better play for you for your next option. Our next arsenal is from Mike, otherwise known as Moose Chickens, I believe, on YouTube. Rev dominant bowler, has a handful of bowling balls, so let's put some things into categories that we know about. Get out of here, Magic Media. All right, what do we see? We see a purple hammer. We're going to put that in the urethane category. The Ivory Rhino is a weak and sharp ball. The Venom Shock, the GOAT, is going to be medium smooth. And we've talked about the Vibo being strong and sharp. So let's look at the rest of the bowling balls that Mike has here. First one up, IQ Tour Ruby. I'm going to put the IQ Ruby actually in front of the Ivory Rhino. It has a very low RG, and I know it has like no differential for being because it's an IQ, but it still wants to hook a little bit earlier than that Ivory Rhino. That Ivory Rhino wants to hook so late because the RG is so high. Next up is the Hustle Rip. The Hustle Rip, I always like to put in the weak and smooth category. Kind of fits in between both, but even though it's shiny, it is still just a shiny solid, and it wants to be smoother than a lot of the sharper counterparts that are out there, especially in the Hustle lineup. Next up is a Pitch Black. Pitch Black goes after the Purple Hammer in every way, shape, and form. It is just overall not as good as a Purple Hammer, but also hooks a little later and is a little smoother. Finally, GB4 Hybrid. GB4 Hybrid is going to fit in the medium and sharp category. Really, really good bowling ball. Love that thing. It's very cheap right now. Also, if you need a shinier ball, it's going to be a little smoother. So is the GB5 Pearl. They're very close together. But overall, Mike, looking at your arsenal, you kind of aced it with what you have right now. Vibo, Venom Shock, GB4 Hybrid, bunch of low-end balls because you're rev dominant. Like, you did good. You did really good. A lot of them are newer, so you don't have to worry about any of them getting too old and just not reacting very well. You do have a pretty big gap in your solids. The Venom Shock is a weaker bowling ball in the medium and smooth category. So if you want a stronger, smoother bowling ball, you could go above that with like a Lethal Venom, a Phase 2, a Rockstar, a GB5 because you already have the GB4 Hybrid. You could get a ball above that Venom Shock if you want to. Overall, you did a good job. I don't think you need this strong and smooth category that much. I think a stronger medium smooth ball would be a good next one to go for, but otherwise, really nice work. Next up, we are on Noah. Noah is a rev dominant two-handed righty. So let's put some balls in categories that we know about. Phase 2, the GOAT in the medium smooth category. Have we talked about the rest? Harsh Reality Solid we've talked about in the strong and smooth. I see a Black Hammer. That's going to go in the urethane camp. Really nothing else here. So let's start it off with the original Paragon. Paragon has an insanely strong core, slightly weaker cover stock than you'd expect. It goes below the Harsh Reality Solid. Wild Streak, that's going to go below the Phase 2, high RG Solid Ball. Polaris is still going to be, I believe this was the hybrid version, that's going to still be in the strong smooth camp, but it's going to go after the Paragon and the Harsh Reality. Ooh, the old Snap Lock. We haven't seen a Snap Lock in a minute. Snap Lock was one of the lock variants from Storm. That was one of their big asymmetrical cores. Actually, the Striking Out Breast Cancer ball this year was a lock core. I believe it was a remake, basically, of the Snap Lock. I had a Sherlock. That was a solid one. Money bowling ball. I might try finding another for the giggles. Moving on, though. Idol Synergy. This was a hybrid idol. Very smooth. I had one. I owned one. Super smooth bowling ball. Eternity is going to actually go after the Snap Lock. The Eternity is just overall weaker in every way, shape, and form. And then a Tundra Fire, original Tundra Fire, is going to go in the weak sharp slot. So, looking at what we do have a gap in the medium or the weak smooth category, but we also have a gap in weaker shiny balls. There's a pretty big distinction between the Eternity and Snap Lock up above, Idol Synergy below, which is very smooth. You can't play a lot of angle with it. And then there's a massive gap down to that Tundra Fire. So I'd really recommend fitting something between those two, because what you have right now is pretty okay in the solids camp. You could use a solid that's below the Wild Streak, IQ Tour, Hustle Earth. What else? A Turbo X could be really good. A ball that's going to be on sale very soon. But I think that might be a little bit better. I think a shiny ball would be a little bit better for your game right now based on what you have compared to that new solid ball. But after that, then we can look at solids. But otherwise, I really like a lot of these balls on here. Having a Snap Lock still is super cool.